We're at the Devaney Center on the campus of the University of Nebraska as the 16th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers host the 18th ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers. Hello everyone, I'm John Roethlisberger alongside one of America's most decorated gymnasts ever, Alicia Sacramone Quinn. Alicia, great to be back with you again. On paper, this looks to be a great matchup, number 18 versus number 16. Tell us what we can expect tonight.
Minnesota remains undefeated in the Big Ten. Last week, they had 7 athletes set 8 new season high scores. That attributed to them scoring over 49 team score in each event, which is absolutely huge for them. And a lot of that had to do with their standout star, Lexi Ramler. She's Big Ten Gymnast of the Week. She has won 5 straight all-around titles, which is as unheard of. And then we're moving over to Nebraska. They've had a tough loss last week to Michigan, who's well known to be their biggest rival. They're looking to come back here at their home crowd, get the scores rolling, and they're hoping that Addie DeJesus gets a little more credit on that vault. Last week, she did a beautiful stuck 1.5 twist Yurchenko and was robbed. So hopefully she can get that 10.0 here tonight.
So I think for Minnesota, you nailed it. Lexi Ramler, she is a game changer for that team, and to come in here and beat Nebraska would be huge for them because Nebraska, they've been somewhat dominant over the Golden Gophers over the years, 33-11-1. Minnesota looking for that 12th win. Nebraska won this matchup last season as well. Nebraska, a tough beat here at the Devaney Center. The standings in the Big Ten, you alluded to it, Alicia. Minnesota still undefeated at the top of the conference, along with Michigan at 3-0. Ohio State, by the way, they were undefeated until last night. They get beaten as well. So there's just 2 undefeateds remaining. Minnesota hoping to hold on to that here in Nebraska this weekend. It should be a good one. So the home team, Nebraska Cornhuskers, there's the new head coach, Heather Brink. She's pumping that team up. They will start on the vault. There is their lineup. That column on the right is interesting because that is experience, and that's how many times those gymnasts have actually appeared in the lineup for Nebraska. You can see very early in that lineup a lot of young athletes. At the end there, Sienna Krause and Taylor Hausch, and they represent the veterans on the Cornhusker squad.
Tonight, Nebraska's whole vaulting lineup will be performing Yurchenko 1.5s, which is huge. There's not many, if any, other schools, I think maybe besides Oklahoma, that every athlete on their roster does a 10.0 start value.
This will be very interesting, no doubt.
Unfortunate for Kaylee Quinn, it was her first time competing the 1.5. She did not get her feet underneath her enough to be able to make that landing. A little bit shoulder angle on the table, just opened up too soon. That arm got lost behind her. It's an unfortunate start, but hey, it's a difficult vault. You gotta pick yourself up, try again, you know. Nebraska's taking a step in the right direction. If you can get a 10.0 on every start value in vault, that's huge. That
is huge, and that was Kaylee Quinn, as you mentioned, freshman out of Rockaway, New Jersey. Got a little too aggressive on that landing. Now we look to Minnesota and the uneven bars. They have some youth as well. And that is Kristen Paglia, starting things off from Minnesota. She was a junior out of Chanhassen, Minnesota, in classic gymnastics, coached by Brian Huff. This is an important event for them to start on. It's been a consistent event for Minnesota, and it's got a lot of high-scoring potential.
Mounting over the low bar, hitting that handstand on the high bar, blind change to Pike Jaeger, small feet separation to immediate shoot over. Connection points for connecting those 2 skills. Back up on the high bar. Blind change full, a little bit late, hitting that handstand to immediate double back to a stick. Connections are great there, but we're just missing forms, spots here and there. It's gonna be 1/4 tenth for this, a 1/4 tenth for that. But she had some nice skills in this routine. That big Jaeger, small leg separation right when she catches. And then you can see that blind change full, not finishing directly in a handstand. There's gonna be a deduction for that, but the dismount was great.
Kristen Qualia does what the first person is supposed to do and get up and hit. Now, this will be interesting, Alicia, because they're scheduled to do 6-10-0 vaults, but they had the first gymnast miss as Megan Versailles-Carr gets ready to go. Will they all still do the 1.5 is my question.
Up onto the table, another sat down 1.5. This is a little bit unfortunate because I watched her warm up and she's stuck it cold.
This is just going too hard for that stuck landing.
A lot of distance, not the best height ratio from the table. She needs more rotation, and that vault didn't have it.
So Versailles-Carr comes up short again. That was the first time for Kaylee Quinn and Versailles-Carr to do the 1.5 in competition. Unfortunately, that is one that they will not want to remember. Now back over to the uneven bars. Minnesota hit their first routine. Kristen Qualia gets a 9.75. Now this is Hannah Wilmarth. She is a sophomore out of Boulder, Colorado in airborne gymnastics. Only competed bars twice this year, so some youth in this Minnesota lineup as well. We'll talk about that throughout the competition.
When an athlete's competing on bars, judges are looking for those hit handstands, nice, clean, tight form, and then, of course, that stuck landing. It's the last thing they see, but it is the first thing they remember. Moving between the bars with a beautiful bail to handstand. Hitting that handstand on the high bar. Line change full, a tad bit late, but direct connection to double back. Soft landing on the double, but she was fighting for it to be a stick.
It looked like she was coming down and it was going to be a stick, and she gave away that hop.
You have within 10 degrees to get credit for hitting that handstand. So you can see she was right on point, but after that pirouette, she was late and crooked towards the side. So she will get a deduction for that, but just needed to be a little bit more precise on that double back dismount.
Now the pressure is on Nebraska. Annika Dijakovic. She is a sophomore out of Fusion Gymnastics, actually assistant coach Mike Heredia's gym club that he owns with his wife.
A lot of these vaults have lots of distance, not so much height, and that deviated from the center line of where you would like to land. I think the excitement of everybody doing a 1.5 kind of got into the minds of these athletes, and you're seeing them not do these vaults that they warmed up well, but they aren't competing the same way.
And the pressure is on because in women's gymnastics, you can drop that low score. However, when your first two gymnasts have falls already, that means you are going to count a miss. And that puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the field. Now back over to bars in Minnesota, Anna Loper. Sophomore out of Bluffton, South Carolina. Following a 9.825 from Hannah Wilmarth.
Starting on the low bar, to a Maloney, to a back salto. Pirouette. Back up onto the high bar now. Short handstand there. Line change, fighting to get it over. Swing half, trying to cover up her mistake to immediate double back. So she's going to lose bonus points, which will ultimately affect her start value. So I don't think she'll be able to start from a 10.0 with the way the routine she competed.
So Minnesota gives one back. Now again, they will look to drop that score while the Nebraska Cornhuskers try to stick a few vaults here to get things right. And this is the one you mentioned in the open. At Nearest de Jesus, she nailed this vault last week. She is only a freshman. They need a big score here.
She warmed up really well. Let's see how she competes.
There you go.
Looking for that stick, small hop, great vault. Where they get her is her little bit of form in her legs. If they're being really nitpicky, good height, good distance, and you can see that left knee just bend slightly before she's approaching that landing, and that's where the judges, who didn't want to give her the 10 last week, gave her that deduction.
So Nebraska gets things right. Annika Dijakovic, a 9.65 in the third spot for Nebraska. So they're going to count a score in the 9.65s and also a score of 9.15 for sure, assuming they hit the rest of their vault. So that is a bad place to be early in this competition for Nebraska. Now here we go with Tiari Salas in the fourth spot for Minnesota.
Mounting up onto the high bar, short handstand. Bail to handstand, loose when her hands catch the bar in her midsection. Still short on that handstand on the high bar, blind change. Big release move, nice height over the bar, good form. Just struggling a bit with those kip cast handstands, and unfortunate because those short handstands add up. Double A, small hop backwards. Nice hit routine. Again, we're gonna see small quarter tenths from the judges. The big, working over the bar. Very nice release move.
So a good routine from Tiari Salas. Anna Loper, by the way, a 9.7 for her bar routine, which is a little bit surprising with that mistake. Now back over to vault. This is Sienna Kraus. She is a senior. She is one of the leaders of this Nebraska squad.
Getting up onto the table. Nice 1.5, a lot of power. Decent sized hop forward, but beautiful form. The legs were perfectly squeezed together, toes pointed in the air. Up onto the table, squeeze perfectly, like a pencil. That's amazing. Great, great form. Beautiful, great distance. She just brought her head around a moment sooner. She would have been able to have better control on that landing.
Had near as DeJesus a 9.825 for her vault. Now Lexi Ramler, the game changer, mounts the uneven bars.
Maloney to Pack Salto. Great form, beautiful toe point to Van Leeuwen. Toe handstand, full twisting double back.
Wow.
Stuck landing. She had a little bit soft legs. It's almost like a body roll coming back up.
You know, it almost looked like she was a little under-rotated, but she absorbed it long enough and was able to stay in one spot. Poise of a veteran, and she's only a sophomore.
That was great. Great form, very unique skill. You don't see it very often. That toe handstand to immediate full twisting double back, and then the whoop, and got it. Great dismount. Strong set for the Gophers.
Sienna Kraus got a 9.85. This is Taylor Haushin trying to finish with a big one.
Big 1.5. A lot of power. Those last two vaults for Nebraska were great. They just need to get those landings under control, and at this point in the season, you would like to see more control. Big distance, a lot of height.
So you don't like to see Nebraska make those mistakes on the vault, obviously, but it's in the middle of the season. It's not the postseason yet. Maybe a good thing to get this out of the way, get some experience with this lineup.
Granted, the first two athletes had never competed the 1.5 before, so you have to give them a little bit of wiggle room. But that lower half of the lineup, they should be focusing more on fine-tuning and landings.
This is Ivy Liu. She is a junior, number 13 in the country, actually tied for 13 with her teammate Lexi Ramler, who scored a 9.875 for her routine.
Ivy is a beautiful bar worker. Her warm-ups were absolutely stunning. She's doing a great spot. Oh, okay, I'm almost jinxing her at this point.
That would be a mistake I have never seen before. Wow.
Unfortunately, I have fallen on squat on before. It's not the most glamorous fall either. Beautiful double layout to a stick. Had to make up for the almost fall.
What do you think the judges do on that? I've never seen a gymnast
stand. It's a deduction for sure.
A 10th probably? What do you think?
Half a 10th if they're being generous. The arm swing is what gets you. If you just stood up straight, it's not a big deal. You might get a delay, but makes up for it with this beautiful kicked open double lay.
Beautiful double layout. So we've got one rotation in the books, and it was an up and down rotation for Nebraska. Minnesota looks steady, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the changes in the women's program here at Nebraska. Some big time upgrades for the Cornhuskers. 5 as they go to the second event. Minnesota will be on vault. Junior Paige Williams will try to keep things rolling for the Golden Gophers. Meanwhile, for Nebraska, they go to the uneven bars. Number 23 in the country, Sienna Kraus, will try to get things right for the Cornhuskers. Ready to vault in that lead off, that ever important lead off spot. You get a couple hits early in the lineup. It just lets the rest of the lineup kind of breathe easier, takes a little bit of that edge off. We saw Nebraska have trouble with their first two. Let's see what happens with Minnesota.
Approaching the vaulting table. A nice full. I would like to see her land with her chest up a little bit more in that landing, but she was looking for that stick.
The enthusiasm meter was definitely at a 10.0 on that one for sure.
Oh, it was nice body form. If she just picked it up, then it would have been even better to able to stick that. So it didn't start from a 10, but that score should still be better than what, unfortunately, Nebraska was putting up their first couple of vaulters.
Now Nebraska over to bars. This is Kelly Chung, junior out of Torrance, California.
Mounting up onto the high bar.
See a very youthful team early in the lineup for Nebraska.
Caught that Jaeger a little bit close to the bar. Pack salto, leg separation. Putting that handstand on the high bar. Double lay. Just not enough tap swing in the before the dismount. Not the best landing. With the release move we'll see here again. She pulls in and just, you never want to grab with like T-Rex arms. Ideally you want to have a good shoulder distance and grab full grip.
Is that a technical term?
It is now, T-Rex arms, look it up. That double layout, just need a little bit more oomph to it. A little hit of feet higher before the release.
Oomph and T-Rex arms. Let's go over to vault. Lexi Montgomery, sophomore from Colony, Texas. This is only her second time on vault this season.
Go full. Yeah! Small hop in place. strong vault, not the most height and or distance we've seen on a Yurchenko full, but it's a consistent hit. And that's what these teams need to keep chipping away to keep the lead that they have right now for Minnesota.
Kristen Quaglia, a 9.75 in the leadoff spot for Minnesota. We'll wait for Lexi Montgomery's score. Meanwhile, over on the uneven bars, Sarah Hargrove, freshman out of Henderson, North Carolina, gets ready to go, waiting for Kelly Chung's score to come up. This is an event for Nebraska that they've struggled a little bit with depth. They have some big routines, but if anybody has any injuries or if they need to switch up the lineup, early in the season at least, they have not had a lot of options to go to. They currently rank number 16 in the country in this event, which is respectable. Kelly Chung, a 9.575, so fairly low score for the first person up.
Big Ray, nice form. Short in that handstand. Stalled her to pack salto. Slow pirouette turn. It almost looked like she wasn't going to make it, then whipped it around at the end. Stalled her to immediate double back.
There you go. That's what they needed.
For. That's exactly what Nebraska needed to kind of get the ball rolling and build some momentum. The Stalter, she has such a late leg close, which can affect the way she goes into her dismount, but she still manages to pull it out just fine and get that stick.
So that 9.575 for Kelly Chung in the first position for Nebraska's score, they definitely don't want to count. This is Allie Sonier for Minnesota.
Another Yurchenko full, small hop. She had a decent sized shoulder angle on the table, which affects how high she's actually going to get up off the table. There you see it. It's just a flat vault, and the judges will take a deduction for that because they do want to see some good amplitude.
Lexi Montgomery, a 9.7, that's her season high. Allie Sonier waiting for her score. A little more conservative approach here from Minnesota than Nebraska on the vault. Now back over 2 bars. This is Megan Vercelis-Carr. Ready to go. Sarah Hargrove, a 9.875. That is a career high for her. So something to build on for Vercelis-Carr.
Mounting over the low bar. Short handstand on the high bar. Line change. Pipe Jaeger. Small leg separation to immediate shoot over or bailed. Handstand on the high bar. Line change full to immediate double back dismount. Stuck landing. Not the cleanest routine. I'm going to say this will be like a 9.85, 9.875 type of score. But it's a hit. This is what Nebraska needs, this, especially in an event like this where they struggle. The connection between those two skills to the immediate double back from the blind change full. Teammates love it. They're so excited for her.
Allie Sonier got a 9.75. This is Paige Williams.
Aggressive run approaching the table. Good height.
Wow.
Open that full right up. Just a small hop, step backwards. Face of like determination approaching that round off onto the springboard. So much time in the air. Knew exactly where she was.
Trying to build on a 9.75 from Allie Sonier. That should be a huge number. Megan Vercelis-Carr, by the way, a 9.9. You called it, you said a 9.875. Alicia, it went a little higher than that even, as Admires de Jesus mounts, making a move here for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Hitting that handstand on the high bar. To big release move. A little bit sloppy feet, legs, out of control on that release move from high to low. Immediate double, Arabian double front dismount. It's hard from just a cast. You don't have the giants to give yourself some extra power to go into the dismount. So not the best landing there for De Jesus.
After Washington, Arizona State on ESPN, catch Sports Center with John Anderson and Kenny Mayne. They'll recap Thunder Rockets with James Harden's 30-point streak on the line. Plus, Jay Billis takeaways from number 2 Duke and number 3 Virginia, as well as post-fight reactions from USC 234 in Australia.
Nice Yurchenko 1.5. Only that small movement of the feet on the landing, but that was great.
And that is the all-star Lexi Ramler, number 25 in the country on this event.
slight bend of those knees before she was anticipating that where her feet were going to land on that mat. But again, the judges don't have the exact same angles that we see, so that might be something that they aren't going to fully deduct.
At nearest to Jesus for Nebraska on bars, a 9.8. Sienna Kraus, a top 25 gymnast on this event, looking for a big number.
Weiler kip, half turn, immediate ginger, small leg separation, but nice connection between those two skills. Good amount of bonus points for that. Building momentum, full twisting double back to a stick. That step turn to the salute should have happened a tad bit sooner because I think they're going to give her a deduction for that landing. Beautiful handstand. To the Weiler kip, half turn, and then that ginger. Finish the routine with a beautiful, difficult dismount, and just needed to turn a little bit sooner so she didn't get credit for that step.
This is Anna Loper following up Lexi Rambler's 9.875.
Oh, she was trying for that stick. Unfortunately, took that step backwards.
They finished with a couple big vaults, trying to crack that 9.9.
It's always better on vault if you're doing a front landing vault. You want to step forward because then it shows you have extra power. When you step backwards, it's going to be more of a under rotation, not all the way around type situation that the judges are seeing.
So Taylor Hauschen is going to finish a bar rotation for Nebraska that has seen 3 career highs, including Sienna Kraus's 9.925 moments ago.
Line change full to Tkachev. Nice hit handstand. Bail handstand. Making sure she hits that handstand on the high bar before her dismount. Ready to release. Beautiful double A to a stick. That's going to be a big score.
So you do the math, Alicia. 9.925 for Sienna Kraus. That looked perfect. Can we see our first 10?
I think we might see a 10. Look at that handstand, that good form, the big release move. I haven't been understanding the judges' scores up until this point, but I feel like I don't know what they're going to take away from her.
That could be our first 10 as well this season. We haven't seen one.
What will it be?
So a Nebraska team, they rallied big time in that rotation. We'll do the math when we come back. And when we come back, another edition of the J&A Academy. We'll discuss dealing with the mid-season dog days of gymnastics. You know we had to do it, right? I mean, you knew we could not resist. And why do I always get the short end of the stick? You're in the cool, high-tech cryo chamber, and I'm on the frozen tundra.
I don't know, John, but one more thing that gets me ready for season, I get nostalgic. I like to look at family photos. And so I think we're going to pull up some family photos of the Roethlisberger family.
Oh,
Fred Roethlisberger, a legendary coach, 33 years as the Golden Gopher head coach. And then John's sister Marie, a 4-time NCAA All-Team American. She was a 1984 Olympic team alternate. She was an absolute rock star. And then, last and certainly not least, my favorite male gymnast of all time, Johnny R.
You're such a liar.
You are my favorite gymnast. 3-time Olympian, 1993 Nissan Award winner. John, you always give me all the credit for my accomplishments, but you, friend, are the winner here. You have a long list.
I'm going to get choked up. This is why did you guys in the truck, you did that, and you surprised me. I'm going to get you for that one. Nebraska goes to the beam. They try to keep rolling with their senior Megan Schweihofer. Meanwhile, Minnesota trying to hold off the Cornhusker run. Anna Loper will lead the way for the Golden Gophers on that event. Matt willing her gymnast to stick that landing.
That leap past the switch leap. It's very difficult. You have to land and jump off that same leg. So if you're not really stabilizing through that, your foot, ankle, and knee, you could take a little bit of a bobble like she did there.
So now Minnesota, Rachel Cutler, she is a senior. There's also plenty of youth on this Minnesota team as well. Rachel is a senior out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I almost made a comment earlier, John. I was like, oh my gosh, weird. Nebraska's competing in short sleeve leotards. And then I was like, no, Alicia, that's mesh. Just kidding. Opening up with a front layout, front full.
Talking to Coach Jenny Hansen, she said the team almost flipped a switch on floor exercise last week. They had their season high on this event and just got it together, and she is certainly hoping that they can continue that consistency and building those high scores.
Second tumbling pass. Front 1.5. Not the tightest front 1.5 we've seen, but lands on 2 feet. Getting ready for her last tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Kicks open a smidge early, stays on her feet. We got a hit for the opening set on floor. The front Rudy was just a little bit loose in the ankle area. Just would you like to see those legs perfectly glued together, pointed toes, and land more vertical with your chest? And then that double tuck just kicks open like right before her feet should have. I would like to see her land with her head and chest up.
Nonetheless, a hit routine to start off things for Minnesota. Meanwhile, back over on beam, Michaela Curtis gets a career high 9.825. So Sarah Hargrove, she had an outstanding bar routine. If they can keep things rolling here, they
Sarah
can certainly
Hargrove
put some pressure on
with that risky mount, man. I'm all about risks, but I feel like right in the beginning is nerve-wracking. On balance beam, judges are looking for the connections between acro skills, leap skills, jumps, dance turns, and then of course the lack of balance checks. You want to see someone rock solid. You don't want to wobbles or bobbles or anything like that. Front aerial to beat jump. Split jump, sheep jump. Beautiful connection, very difficult. Getting ready for her dismount. Gainer back pike off the end to a stick.
2 for 2 on stuck landings. Here's the mount you're talking about, Alicia. So much going on here. Kind of scary.
I would be so afraid. Like, she even checked. She's like, okay, is my distance okay? Because you're going in blind. Oh, and then she muscles it, makes it sure she doesn't get off the beam.
Looks like she overdid it a little bit.
She definitely over-rotated that just a tinge.
So each team starting their rotation with 9.825s. Now Allie Sonier in the second spot for Minnesota.
First tumbling pass, round off back handspring, double pike, nails it. Switch side, split full. Little matrix action on this dance. Next tumbling pass. Front 1.5. Using a little extra mats here and there to save her ankles a bit on those landings. Last tumbling pass, round off back handspring, 1.5 front layout. Looked like it was gonna be a little bit long, but she made it stay in bounds.
So far early in this rotation, when Nebraska puts the pressure on, Minnesota has answered.
That last connection tumbling pass. You round off back handspring 1.5. The punch lay. Almost towards the end of that floor, but made it work.
So nice job from Alex Sonier. Sarah Hargrove, the second gymnast up for Nebraska, also a career high, 9.825. So a pair of 9.825s. Now, Sienna Kraus, who is currently your leader in the all-around, takes her turn.
Front aerial to back handspring. Small little balance check there.
Last week, the senior out of Fargo, North Dakota, had her season high in the all-around. Certainly trying to top that, and on pace to top that today. 39.375.
Front toss to 2 feet landing. Gainer back, oh, full twisting back pike off the end of the beam. Didn't get to the stick, but that is a difficult dismount. You need a lot of speed and momentum to get that all the way around. So it's like a beginning of a front aerial, but with the landing of a front tuck. It's very unique, different. You don't see a lot of athletes doing it.
On floor for Minnesota, Abby Nyland.
So back over to floor exercise. Allie Sonier, a 9.875. That is her career high. 3 out of 4 routines we've seen in this rotation are career highs. Now this is Abby Nyland. She is a freshman out of Rogers, Minnesota, in Twin City Twisters gymnastics.
First tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double pike. Big height on that skill. Second tumbling pass coming your way. Round off whip back, 1.5 front tuck. Switch side, straddle full. Those final breaths before her last tumbling pass. Looking to finish this routine strong. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Finishes it on 2 feet.
So back and forth, both of these teams get it right here in the third rotation. It is going to be interesting, no doubt, down the stretch. This week in our Super Tuesday doubleheader at 7 Eastern, it's number 5 Kentucky and number 21 LSU. Then it's the number 2 Duke Blue Devils. They square off against number 16 Louisville. Catch it all on ESPN and the ESPN app. So now senior Megan Schweihofer. She was your 2018 Big Ten all-around champion due to some injuries and some nagging things. She is not doing all around this season, but she is so vital for this team. She can put up some big numbers on a couple events, and she is a leader.
Back handspring step out, lay out 2 feet. Very difficult acro series. The judges are being very nitpicky. They'll say that is actually a back pike and not a layout. She's not reaching that tight laid out arch position. Beautiful leap connection, ending it with a switch half to beat jump.
Sienna Kraus is scoring 9.875. Abby Nyland over on floor exercise a 9.825. So these scores are going back and forth, actually tied within this rotation. Minnesota's floor is tied with Nebraska's balance beam.
Round off double full to a stick.
Was it a stick though?
Well,
a little. We're gonna have to go. We might have to go to the tape.
That difficult acro series, the back handspring step out. They're going to say it's a back pike. I call it a layout, but ideally you want to see a perfectly straight, tight body. No piking in the hips. But then that dismount, the double full.
Video doesn't lie. Oh, man. No, was it a slide together or was it a hop slide together?
She moved forward, unfortunately. You can move your heels together as long as your feet don't move, but if you hop and move them, then it doesn't count as a stick.
And this is Anna Loper. She is also an all-around contender. She's currently sitting in 4th, a little over 2/10 behind the leader. So the all-around competition is still very much up for grabs.
Front lay, front 1.5, opening pass for Anna. Switch sleep, torjete half to split jump down to the ground. Round up 1.5 lay. Almost got her feet scooted out from under her, but she managed to stay on 2 feet. Last tumbling pass. Front 1.5.
So another great routine in this rotation. Another look.
Opened up that first pass with the front layout to front 1.5. Nice connection pass, getting some bonus points. Then ending with another Rudy. They're not the flashiest routines or the highest difficulty, but hits are hits. And if there's not a lot of deductions, there's not much the judges can take away from you.
Expect another good score there. Megan Schweihofer, 9.875. And this is Taylor Haushin out of Republic, Missouri. Pole vault champion in 2018 in the Big Ten and a 2-time All-American. Very important here late in the lineup for Nebraska.
Well, John.
And on cue, that is an unfortunate mistake, but look at those scores, all above a 9.8. So this cannot be a catastrophe for Nebraska, but Sierra Hassel, she better have her game face on because they need a hit from her.
Front aerial to beat jump. Switch leap to split jump.
Side note, obviously we're focusing on the team competition. Taylor Haushin was actually your leader in the all-around. I may have made a mistake earlier, but that is certainly going to take her out of contention for the all-around title unless the other 3 competing for the all-around make mistakes.
Finished the routine very strong, even though she had that fall in her series. The rest of the routine was pretty great. There was no really other mega deductions. Shifted her weight back. Instead of keeping her weight in her front leg, which should be her balance leg, she moved her weight into her back foot, which anything goes at that point. You can't square your hips, you can't save it if you don't have balance in one of the legs at least.
You run out of room and it's curtains on the balance beam. Now back over to floor exercise. Anna Loper, 9.825. This is Lexi Ramler. We've talked a lot about her. She is one of those franchise-changing athletes. And she's a homegrown kid out of St. Michael, Minnesota.
That was a beautiful jump. It was a full twisting ring jump. So it's like a split jump with a ring. Opened up with a big double pike. Almost got that back foot out of bounds, but she, like a wide receiver, felt the line and kept it right in. Switch ring. Nice switch half. Lexi has beautiful flexibility, very dynamic, hitting her leaps over 180 degrees. Second tumbling pass, front handspring, 1.5. A little bit out of control on that landing. Wasn't sure if she was going to add a jump or another skill after that, but maybe played it safe.
This Minnesota team is pretty young. They have actually 17 of their lineup spots. 17 of the 24 are occupied by gymnasts who are underclassmen. So certainly a team to build on, not just this year, but in the years to come. They'll be one to watch.
Last tumbling pass, round off, 1.5 step out, round off back handspring, double full, hikes that double full down, but that is one loaded tumbling pass. I'll be interested to see what the judges score that, because it was a loaded routine with difficulty, but there were some weird things here and there, like the nice double pike had that big lunge back, which is not going to be a controlled landing, so there'll be a small deduction there. And then the round off 1.5 step out to the double full, pikes that down. That's going to be a deduction there as well. So difficulty-wise, it's up there, but it's score-wise, it could be real low, depending on how tight they want to be.
Now the pressure is on Sierra Hassel. She's the last gymnast up for Nebraska. Taylor Houchen, a 9.275. They absolutely will need to drop that score if they want to give themselves any chance in the last rotation.
Back handspring, step out, layout, step out. One thing I've noticed with all the Nebraska athletes, they start their series so far into the beam that they're not leaving themselves a lot of room. So if they do have a mistake like Taylor Houchen, where she's moving backwards, you're going to go off the end. Why not start a little bit further up and not have to even run that risk? Split jump to sheep jump. Sorry, Don, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Sierra Hassel has struggled in the last 3 competitions. She's actually had 2 misses out of her last 3 routines, so the pressure on here to get it right in a big moment.
Round off, 1.5. Small hop on that dismount, but when she needed to deliver, she did. The pressure was on, and she stuck that beam routine.
So that is going to be a good team score for Nebraska. The question is, were they able to chip into that .475 lead that Minnesota had after 2?
That 1.5, that blind landing.
On the floor for Minnesota.
Lexi Ramler's score, you talked about it, Alicia, 9.825. So it looks like the judges did get her on a couple of those landings that you mentioned. Now their anchor, junior out of Wiley, Texas, in Metroplex Gymnastics. This is Paige Williams. We saw a huge vault from her in the first rotation.
First tumbling pass. Front double full. Big pass. Switch side, straddle full. Second tumbling pass, round off, 1.5, front lay. So much height and air time on that 1.5. Paige has 1 tumbling pass remaining. The front 1.5 from the front handspring. A nice closing set for the Golden Gophers. The round off 1.5, so much time to that beautiful front layout. Close the routine with the front handspring, 1.5.
Sierra Hassel for Nebraska in the anchor position at 9.85, waiting for Paige Williams' score. We'll let you know when we come back. And when we do come back, Alicia and I will dive deeper into the Big Ten. You are watching College Women's Gymnastics on ESPN. place to win, number 15, Washington. That's going to take place. There's a lot of snow in the area, but it is a go. Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. UCLA visits Washington. And here in Lincoln, Nebraska, they got a little bit of work to do. They got to close that gap, just a little under 0.5 behind the visiting Golden Gophers. It should be an exciting final rotation. And in that final rotation, Big Ten Gymnast of the Week, Lexi Ramler tries to close the deal for the Golden Gophers. Meanwhile, Nebraska Cornhuskers will be on floor, and Taylor Houshman and her squad will try to make the tough comeback.
You can have a bad warm-up and still have a great competition. So they can't get in their heads, and I think that's what they're doing.
As we see Minnesota huddling up, you can see their lineup right there. You mentioned how you warm up versus how you compete. I talked to Coach Jenny Hansen from Minnesota before the meet. She said that exact thing. She goes, you know, sometimes you just don't know. You have a bad warm-up and a great meet, and you have a great warm-up and a bad meet. And I said, how was this warm-up? She goes, well, it was kind of mediocre. But the last time they had a mediocre warm-up, they had their best meet of the year. So we'll see if that pans out for head coach Jenny Hansen. Now Nebraska Cornhuskers, they know they just have to let it fly.
They really just need to pull it together, have a little fun, because the whole reason we do this is for your love of the sport. So you can't get too serious, you can't get too down on yourself. You need to let loose a little bit.
And here we go with Allie Sonier, the leadoff position for Minnesota. It's such an important spot on all the events, but nowhere is it as important as it is on the balance beam. Get that first hit, and you just take a little bit of pressure off your teammates.
Rock solid back handspring layup step out for her acro series. Heat jump to split 3/4.
Allie is a Sussex, Wisconsin native, comes out of LaFleur's Academy of Gymnastics.
Standing back layout step out. Soft back leg on that. They're going to give her a little bit of deduction for form, but very difficult. You don't see many athletes just do a standing layout step out for fun. Back handspring, one arm back handspring, 1.5. Very unique dismount, but she nails it. That was a solid set for the leadoff for the Gophers.
And that is so big for them because they have a comfortable lead. They just have to stay on.
That beautiful acro series, and then that standing layout step out, loose back leg, but it's a tough skill, and she does it very well.
That is going to be a big first score for the Minnesota Gophers. Now for Nebraska on floor exercise, senior Caitlin Orrell out of Blue Springs, Missouri. She has not competed yet this year. She has had an injured knee. She was cleared a couple weeks ago. She is back in the lineup.
Caitlin's first tumbling pass, round up by handspring, double pike. Caitlin's second pass coming your way. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Nails it. Switch side, straddle full. Caitlin is great performance value. You can see why they put her back in the lineup when she was healthy.
Her team right in front of us, just willing her on, knowing this comeback is so big for her.
That was a great save. The round up 1.5 punch front half to stag jump. You could tell that she didn't have this quite the height she wanted out of that 1.5, but she kept her legs tight and made that second connection work.
Caitlin is quite a young lady as well. This past summer, she was busy. Went on a mission trip with her church to Bogota, Colombia. Was part of the children's ministry team. Went to local schools, parks, after-school programs. And in addition to performing some skits and dances, they delivered a message of hope. A fine young lady and doing some great things on and off the gymnastics floor. She is kind of representative of a lot of these athletes, student athletes in college, doing so many great things and not just great athletics. And this is something you don't like to see if you're a coach, is when the judges get out of their chairs, bring the paper to the middle, and start the deliberations.
So the scores need to be within a certain degree for each judge. And if there's a big variance, then they have to have these little conferences. And look, Jenny is not having any of this. She's like, ladies, sit back down. Let's get this together.
That's not her happy face.
No, definitely not. But it's a struggle for the athlete who has to go next, because you're focused, you're ready to go, and then all of a sudden you get thrown off your game a little bit.
Oh, when more Blue Jackets get together, that's even a worse sign. We'll see if...
Jenny, still not having it. Love it. She's like, can we just figure this out very quickly?
My guess is they're debating a value of a skill, maybe a leap that had a turn to it or something. You remember the routine better than I do, but it looks like they're debating the start value, which to Jenny, I would be concerned as well, because she hit the routine. It seems like it should be pretty black and white.
My guess would be, she had... No, it wouldn't be that, because she had 2 back handsprings, and you're allowed to do a skill twice and receive credit for it. So the series, she did back handspring, left step out. The dismount, she goes back handspring, step out, 1 arm back handspring, dismount. So that shouldn't be an issue. There was only 1 turning leap, which was a split 3/4, which she got all the way around. I'm not sure what they could be even debating over.
And I don't think Jenny quite understands either. But we shall proceed. Mary Corlin Downs, the junior from Lake Elmo, Minnesota. She's the second gymnast up. Actually, a slight change in the Minnesota lineup from earlier in the week until today. It looks like a 9.725 for Ali Sonia. The judges clearly saw something I think we did not. So an opportunity maybe for Nebraska. Caitlin Orrell, a 9.825. So in theory, a 10th that the Nebraska Cornhuskers picked up. And now I'm being told it's lowered even more to a 9.7. I say in theory they picked up a 10th because they do get to drop a low score. So Minnesota with that 9.7, I'm sure they would like to drop that score. But again, 5 gymnasts left, it puts the pressure on them. And how hard is it, Alicia, to sit through an entire competition? You only compete on the last event. And that last event happens to be beam, and here you got to be ready to go.
It's definitely, you have to be mentally tough and just keep your cool. You don't want to give him anything away. So she's looking like she's rock solid, not phased by the weight at all. Granted, she waited the whole competition, so I guess it was just a little bit longer. Wasn't that big of a deal.
You got to be a microwave. You got to heat up quick. Side note, I am being told now that the 1/4 10th was added back to Ali Sonia's score, so it is a 9.725. We'll get back to you if it changes again.
Cat jump, aerial, back full to toe raise. I'm not even sure if that was a foot move.
It looked like it might have been a stuck land. She paused long enough, but did she have control, I think is the question.
There's the connection, and here's the back full. Oh, that small feet scooched together. It's going to get her. It's unfortunate because that was a nice routine.
So we mentioned Caitlin Orrell's score of 9.825. This is Adniris De Jesus in the second spot. The freshman with the pressure on, trying to fend off the Golden Gophers here at home.
John's dancing in the seat over here. Triple full, a little too much power. She piked that down, causing her to bounce backwards.
Now very critical, I think she stayed in bounds. I didn't see the judge in the background raise a hand, which a 10th makes a huge difference here. This competition is gonna get tighter.
You have to keep in mind, it's a 10th for just going out of bounds, not counting the steps that you take to get out of bounds. So those can add up very quickly. 1.5 front layout step out. Addie has a lot of power, just looking for that fine-tuning and control on those landings, and then her scores are going to skyrocket.
And that is one thing that Heather Brink did say about Addie is that she comes in from a smaller program, a little bit raw, needed some polish, but she has that power. She has those intangibles that sometimes you really can't coach.
Last tumbling pass, round off back handspring, double pike, nails it. Definitely had more control on that landing. So we have a few deductions for that first tumbling pass, unfortunately, and then that it's a very difficult and E-value skill to triple full. It's one flip with 3 twists.
Did she stay in? Watch real close on the right side.
She stayed in. Her foot touched the line, but it did not cross over, so she's safe on that front. But the mat also slid back when she stepped. So,
I think that mat helped her, though, because I don't think you can project the line through the mat. Now back over to beam. Mary Corlin Downs got a 9.825 in the second spot. Now this young lady, Ivy Liu, she is something special. She's number 6 in the country on beam. She has scored a 10-0 on this event. A couple more hits for Minnesota, and it is going to look very improbable for a Cornhusker comeback.
I can't spin, step out, layout, step out, cakewalk.
Jenny Hansen said Ivy Liu kind of brought that elite attitude to the Minnesota program. She was part of the elite program in Canada and came down and has been something special like Alexi Ramler to this Minnesota program.
She's very efficient, comes into the gym, does her job, doesn't waste time. She's in and she's out. And that's something that the coaching staff in Minnesota really love about her. Making her side sunny. Cartwheel, beautiful. Oh. So much airtime on that full. It's unfortunate she just needed to lift that chest up, but that was so nice.
She floated that, and you could tell she was eyeballing that floor and wanted that stuck dismount.
The acro series just spot on. Not even a slight balance check.
On floor for Nebraska.
Look at those feet. Like, you grab that for dear life. They're like bird claws, like holding on to that balance beam. I know that's not the most flattering way to describe it, but that's the most realistic way to tell you what it's like.
I think accurate.
Some call it pterodactyl feet, which is even better than my bird claws, I think.
Here we go with Megan Schweihofer trying to make some magic for Nebraska.
Full twisting double back.
At nearest to Jesus, second up for Nebraska, a 9.675, so a low score. They absolutely cannot count that score if they hope to catch Minnesota.
Megan's second tumbling pass. Front layout, front 1.5.
Megan is the Big Ten co-champion on the floor exercise in 2018.
Megan's last tumbling pass. Front layout, front full. Teammates in the corner loving it, knowing that this should score decently well. Just tossing off dollar bills at the end of that floor routine.
So Megan Schweihofer, nice job. Ivy Liu on beam, by the way, 9.825 for Minnesota.
That nice connection pass. This is where you can see her experience playing a role. The well-controlled landings, not overdoing it by any means, and not giving tenths away for free.
Nebraska really needs to get a 10th back, maybe a little more on each routine the rest of the way. As Minnesota continues on beam, Anna Loper has had a decent night as well. She is an all-around competitor. Obviously behind her teammate Lexi Ramler right now and Sienna Kraus, but ahead of Taylor Houschen for Nebraska.
A very floaty back handspring step out, layout, step out. A little bit unsure of herself in that full turn. cat jump.
Oh, a big mistake. And the door just creeps open ever so slightly for Nebraska.
Ona needs to keep her composure, finish the routine strong, not make it worse than one mistake that she already did. It's unfortunate. That was a difficult connection, and she just didn't have both feet on. Ideally, you need to stagger your feet so you can get them both on the balance beam and not land with them side by side. Stuck the round off 1.5 dismount, so a little bit shaky right after the fall, but then she pulled it together to finish strong.
Unfortunate for the Gophers. Here's what happened.
The beginning's good, but then you can't even, she didn't even have that second foot on. It was completely on the side of the beam, and she tried to put pressure on it and then realized that there was nothing underneath it.
So Nebraska's Sierra Hassel will mount the floor exercise. She follows Megan Schweihofer's 9.9. That is a career high for Megan Schweihofer. This is, if Nebraska can win this thing, this is where it is going to turn, right here, right now.
Front double full, beautiful. It's a step arabesque. The layout step out.
So in theory, if the last three gymnasts for Nebraska can hit, they will not count that 9.675. Now Minnesota, of course, if they hit as well, they will not have to count Anna Loper's fall. So Minnesota's still in control, but certainly a little more precarious.
Switch half, wolf full to back shoulder roll. That doesn't count for any bonus, but it just looks cool. Last tumbling pass, front, 1.5 to straddle jump. Nice bonus for combining acro and a jump together. This should score really well. Clean tumbling, nice landings. Team knows it too. Nebraska's chipping away at the Minnesota lead.
They're feeling hope. Chance of go big red in the Devaney Center. They're getting some momentum. Now back over to balance beam. A freshman in a clutch situation, Tiari Salas mounts the beam, just 2 left to go. Tiari, and then Lexi Ramler will be in the ankle position. Every wobble, every mistake, every step from Minnesota at this point with that fall is going to bring Nebraska just a little bit closer.
Back handspring step up, back handspring step out, layout step up. Small balance check. Very difficult 3 acro series.
You try to tell Jenny Hansen that was a small balance check. I think she's got a hot flash on the sideline.
Apparently my hot flashes are contagious. Gainer back pike off the end. Didn't get that stick.
So a couple of clear errors, a few tenths off. That's probably not going to be a huge score. See what the judges do. One more look at the acro series.
That front foot was not centered on the balance beam, but she didn't fall, so she stayed on. So realistically, it's not huge deductions she's getting. It's small here and there, but it's just how small the judge is going to give her.
That'll be interesting. Now your all-around leader going into the 4th rotation. This is Sienna Kraus. Is a 9.95 to clinch the all-around, but you know she's got bigger things in mind. She wants to catapult this Cornhusker team to a big comeback win.
Front double full, front layout. Beautiful, beautiful first opening pass.
She was an All-American on this event, 2018.
Switch side, straddle full. Round Round off 1.5 front half to jump.
So 2 9-9s for the Nebraska Cornhuskers leading into Sienna Krause's floor routine. Sierra Hassel matches Megan Schweihofer's 9-9. Tiari Salas, by the way, from Minnesota, her Beamer team just a 9.775. Minnesota is counting 2 scores in the 9-7s. This is going to be really interesting.
Sienna's last tumbling pass, front 1.5 back layout step out. That was a awesome floor routine.
And with the momentum that Nebraska has, I will be shocked if this is not a 9-9 or better. Man, the pressure is getting on to the Gophers big time.
Very difficult opening pass. Front layout, double full to front layout. So it's a front layout with a double full twist to a punch front layout, and then she goes on to another connection pass. Shows what's creative about her landing on that pass is she probably has extra power, so she just covers it up with a straight jump, and there's no deduction for that.
So if you're Minnesota and you need a routine and you need a big one, who are you going to call? You're going to call the number 3 gymnast in the country on balance beam, your franchise, Lexi Ramler.
Beautiful back handspring step out layout, step out for her acro series. Front aerial, 2 wolf jump.
Sienna Krause on floor, 9.875. Surprised that that was lower than a 9-9.
That's ridiculous. Sorry, Yangbo. Go ahead.
I'm being told that a 9-9 from Lexi Ramler will win the meet for Minnesota unofficially.
Aerial back full. That was a beautiful beam routine. So I would foresee her getting that 9-9. But the scoring has been
low, yeah.
So weird.
It's been interesting.
Very wonky. Front aerial to wolf jump. Great connection. Aerial to back layout full. I'm going to say that's a stick. She didn't really move her feet, so.
She is so clutch. Has not had a miss in the 2018 season yet. She has been rock solid. Now Taylor Haushin.
Taylor struggled last week on floor, and she didn't look overly enthused during her warm-up. She has such height on her tumbling, but the rotation is where she struggles. She opens up with a big tumbling pass, round off back handspring, full twisting double pike, landed on her feet.
Beautiful first pass.
Second tumbling pass, round off 1.5, front layout. Pinky toes were on that out of bounds line, but she fought to stay in.
Good thing she clipped her toenails before the meet, because that would have been out. Wow, was that close.
Switch ring, torchete half. Last tumbling pass, this is where she struggled last week, finishing with the double pike. Makes it easily tonight.
And what a finish for Nebraska, and what a run they gave Minnesota here at the end. They put the pressure on, but it's not going to be enough. Lexi Ramler gets her 9-9 to clinch the team title, but Alicia, this was pretty special.
Literally, that small hop forward, she knew she was close to the line. She purposely jumped a little bit to the side to stay in bounds.
They're talking about it right there.
The quarter of a 10th hop is much better than taking that full 10th out of bounds.
And you got to tip your hat to the Cornhuskers for giving them a run. It looked like it was impossible to come back, but they put some pressure on. And Minnesota, even with some errors, they held it together, and they get the job done as Minnesota cheers on one of their exhibition gymnasts. But it looks like Minnesota gets the job done on the road in Lincoln. We will wrap things up when we come back from break.